And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Hello, I'm National Weather Service Meteorologist Peter Chan, and this is your Alaska Aviation Weather Outlook on this Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. Set things up going into Wednesday and Thursday for the flight weather outlook. As of this Tuesday, we have low pressure down here in the North Pacific, and there is a trough rotating back to the north and west. It's going to bring some more showers to the panhandle this Tuesday, and still lingering some lighter showers into the day on Wednesday. As that energy pivots back to the north and west, we have a west-northwest flow aloft in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. And when those two kind of collide here over the Alaska Range, Mat-Su Valley, Cook Inlet, we will likely see a brief enhancement to some rain or rain showers this Tuesday night into Wednesday before that feature resolves itself and kind of fades out. Then what's going to happen is high pressure will rebuild over the central and northern interior Thursday, Friday into Saturday, which will allow things to dry out and warm up again across those areas of the interior. Further west, we have low pressure. There'll be with a warm front crossing the Aleutians with a push of warm, moist air, so that'll likely lead to some showers and maybe some drizzle and lower clouds and fog, along with slightly breezier conditions as that front gets further north. But to start out Wednesday morning, we will have some IFR conditions along the outer panhandle coast, especially from near Sitka, Port Alexander, down to off of Craig. And then we also find some IFR conditions along the Chukchi Sea coast from around Point Lay up to Utqiagvik. That'll just be some low clouds, low stratus fog. And then down here along the Bering, pretty much IFR as you get from near St. Lawrence through St. Matthew, St. Paul, and along the Aleutian chain. For Wednesday afternoon, there could be a few thunderstorms pop up. Southeast slopes of the Eastern Brooks Range, Yukon Flats, 40-mile gold country down into the upper Tanana Valley. Still some scattered convection in this area. Across the Gulf, including the Panhandle, back through the Kenai Peninsula, around Cook Inlet, Prince William Sound, widespread MVFR conditions with some rain showers or areas of rain persisting, especially up here through this region of South Central. And then back to the west again, fairly widespread IFR conditions across much of the Bering and Aleutians due to some of the lower ceilings and visibility in areas of fog. Thursday morning, we find VFR conditions starting to open up again across the central northern interior as that ridge of high pressure will start to rebuild. Still lingering MVFR conditions across much of the panhandle, maybe even a little bit of IFR around Ketchikan, Metlakatla. Still lingering MVFR conditions along the central, especially west arm of the Alaska Range and through Cook Inlet, the Kenai Peninsula, Anchorage area. And then along the Arctic coast could be a little IFR, Wainwright on up toward Utqiagvik. And again, all across the Bering and Aleutian chain, generally IFR conditions expected Thursday morning. And for Thursday afternoon, more in the way of VFR conditions across the mainland. Maybe some pockets of MVFR, Copper River Basin, northern Talkeetna Mountains. Could be an isolated thunderstorm pop-up. Northern Talkeetna Mountains, northern Copper River Basin, eastern Alaska Range, Thursday afternoon, early evening. Otherwise, still persistent MVFR conditions across much of the panhandle. And in the far north, we find IFR conditions along areas of the Arctic coast from just east of Utqiagvik down to around Point Lay and Cape Lisburne. And then again, out across the central southern Bering and much of the Aleutian chain, IFR conditions persist. Pass conditions on Wednesday for Anaktuvik Pass, MVFR early in the morning becoming VFR. Again, that high pressure starting to build back in during the day Thursday. For Wednesday, though, MVFR conditions should give way to VFR at Adigan as well. Along the Alaska Range, MVFR conditions, Lake Clark and Merrill, again with some areas of rain. There could be locally IFR through some of the passes. Again, rainy pass, MVFR, same thing, windy pass. There will be definitely some cloud cover, a little lower ceilings and some showers or areas of rain. Isabel could even see beyond the westward extent of an isolated thunderstorm popping up in the vicinity of the pass come Wednesday afternoon. And as we go further east, Mentasta Pass should see VFR conditions Wednesday, but again, there could be a scattered shower or isolated thunderstorm in the vicinity of the pass during the afternoon and early evening. Tanita Pass should hold on to MVFR conditions Wednesday, so should Portage Pass, and also, again, across the Panhandle, much of the Panhandle seeing MVFR conditions, including Chilkoot and White Passes in the north. Freezing levels aloft, we find that there is an area of low pressure down here in the North Pacific. Again, that piece of energy rotating back toward the north and west. Meanwhile, we have west-northwest flow aloft here across the mainland with some showers and enhancement lift here to south central up toward Fairbanks as well. So this is the area we'll likely see a band of rain and rain showers persist. And as we look further toward the southwest, freezing levels rise 12 to above 14,000 feet just south of the central Aleutians as this other area of low pressure out here forces a warm front northeastward across the Aleutians and lower Bering Wednesday into Thursday. So icing potential where you have thicker cloud cover precipitation falling. We could find moderate icing again in areas of south central up to the Alaska range on Wednesday above 13,000 feet. Also pockets east of Kodiak Island and maybe back toward areas of the southwest coast up toward Bethel and inland from Kuskokwim Bay. And then out here toward the central Aleutians as that warm front lifts northward with any precipitation, but it'll be high freezing levels above 16,000 feet. Jet stream, 30,000 foot level, 300 millibars or so. We have a very clear low pressure circulation in the North Pacific with a southerly flow coming on up into the panhandle, 70 to 80 knots there off the coast. On the backside, winds are more northerly along the west side of the state and on coming off of Kodiak Island. And then we have a little bit of a weak high pressure ridge here that's going to begin to fade over the eastern Aleutians as this next piece of energy comes up from the southwest with that next low. So here, still a broad low circulation, mid-levels of the atmosphere out over the North Pacific, south of the Gulf, southerly flow, 35 to near 40 knots coming across Haida Gwaii into the lower panhandle. And then behind me, we have, with this low just that's south-southwest of the western Aleutians, bringing in winds 30 to locally 50 knots out of the west-southwest. And finally, bringing things down to 3,000 feet and kind of give a better hint of where some turbulence might be. Not a lot of wind to worry about here along the mainland or along the Gulf Coast. Little localized, stronger winds aloft, 30,000 feet, Kaktovik east toward the Mackenzie River mouth. And then out here looking to the west, we do have a belt of stronger winds in the east-southeast quadrant of that low, approaching still though south of the central Aleutians on the order of 35 to near 50 knots. And the greatest threat for any isolated moderate turbulence Wednesday will be out there in through the central Aleutians, surface to 3,000 feet. So that's about the only area of any notable turbulence that will be showing up here for Wednesday.